A Massachusetts man who suffers from mental illness and severe narcissism, Allen had already been a troublemaker for many years. Unemployable since losing his teaching job in 2001, within 2 years the conspiracy-addled Allen was trolling chemtrail boards with more than the usual smug self-assurance of your average internet crank. He was adept at creating multiple profiles with which to engage message board communities, stir dramas, and pick fights, especially where chemtrails were concerned, and he aimed to win every argument with everyone, even himself. To paraphrase William Burroughs, Seth Allen is the paranoiac who knows what is really going on. Matt Osborne, Breitbart, Unmasked. Hello everyone, good evening. Oh, this is just too sweet. This is way too sweet. I'm like, man, this Tokyo Shemp doesn't give up. He's like on me like white on rice. And I like rice. Now, I don't like this guy, but I admire him. I never knew I could dislike someone but admire them at the same time. But this person, I mean, he's a hypocrite, right? But he does a service that he doesn't even realize. I don't think he does. But anyways, I want to get going on this. If you don't know what I'm talking about, well, there's someone, an anonymous online troll. He's pretty abusive. He goes by so many like pseudonyms. The one on his YouTube and BitChute is Tokyo Shemp. He has a blog spot where he calls himself Dave from Queens 2. And I always wondered, where's Dave from Queens 1? Like, I couldn't find anything on it. Anyways, I did some sleuthing because I was like, really? I mean, it's gotta hurt. Because he's a narcissist. But he doesn't get any views. I think there's one video where he got like 14,000 views or something lately. Yeah, 14,000 views right here, and I think he was happy. But he's such a negative fella, and I just had to figure things out because I mean, it was assumed that he's a narcissist, and I mean, it's just obviously the way he talks and he writes. But I was thinking, well, if he's a narcissist, well, he's gonna like let something loose. He has to let people know who he is, even though he doesn't want to know who he doesn't want to let people know who he is, because then, you know, he can get litigated or something like that. But I mean, not by me. It's like he doesn't have any money. He's got like a small trust fund from his mom, you know, that lives off of, and he doesn't have work. I understand where all that happens. You know, I don't have a trust fund, but that would be nice. And he always like, oh, this guy, like he's setting up a Patreon and all this other stuff. But then, like, I can't do a good impersonation of Seth. But like, I'm always upfront. I tell everyone exactly how much money I'm getting in donations or whatever. Like, you'll see all these videos of mine where I do show it, except he has no disclosure of that on any of his, and he asks for a lot of donations and stuff like that on the sites that he hosts and stuff. And you don't know how much money he makes. You don't know who he is, but you know, you can now look that up. I didn't really do anything in particular. I looked at some of his videos, looked up some keywords, and this was a lot of fun. I mean, I enjoyed this. This was really fun because it reminded me of Ultima 4, The Quest of the Avatar. If you've ever played any of the Ultima games, basically you could interact with NPC players, right? But you want to talk and say certain things like, hi, job, I mean, you could type in the full word, but it looks for keywords, and with those keywords, it triggers a response, and there you get more information. You go to another person, and you just keep the conversation going. So it was like that. I wanted to figure this out. It's like, who is this anonymous online troll? Especially since he was just nonstop with me and a whole bunch of other people that I used to associate with and stuff, and it's like, man, this person won't let it go. And it's like, I mean, yeah, he's probably crazy, but aren't we all? But I was more like, I could understand if he had more views and comments and followers, but he doesn't, and he sticks to me rather than going to like the higher individuals, right? It's like he's got a personal grudge against me. I mean, he could talk about, I don't even know who Hilaria Thomas Baldwin is. I think he's one of the Baldwin's daughters. But anyway, like, he could get a lot more views. I mean, that one got like 14,000, but like all these, like he does on me and stuff, just like barely breaks into double digits. Oh, here's Alec Baldwin. So it must be Alec Baldwin's daughter. All right. So I just want to kind of go over some things that I found, and I just thought it'd be great because I think what I want to do is just like try to contact some of these people who wrote these articles and just thank them, because I finally figured out who it was that was stalking me and having just a lot of cyber stalking, online abuse and stuff. It's like I'm very much for the First Amendment freedom, right? So it's like I don't like it, but I'm gonna allow it. Right? This is like perfect. It's like my grief isn't about the First Amendment and about him saying it. I'm more about what he's saying to me, and I'm rather about going after that, right? Not going after him saying all these things and doing all these things. I mean, that's up to the individuals involved. So that's what I admire about him, right? He takes the opposite spectrum of the First Amendment. Like, people use the First Amendment to do good things with it, right? As good as you can. Try not to cross that boundary. But him, on the other hand, he crosses it. I mean, it's almost like controlled opposition. Imagine the government just letting out thousands, if not millions, of Seth Allens in the world. Like, everyone's going to be opposed to First Amendment, right? Everyone's going to be against freedom of speech because everyone's like him, right? Everyone's like, no, freedom of speech sucks. These Seth Allens are killing us. So yeah, I admire him in that aspect, because we need that polar end of the spectrum against those of us that are on the opposite end of the same ilk, I guess you could say. All right, so this is from the Boston Phoenix back in February 27th, 2013, and I'm going to keep going back. I might be going back and forth, but these next two web pages, and you can look at them in the YouTube description box. They'll also be there for library when I upload there. So here it is. Beyond Description, Aaron Worthing Unmasked by Chris Farrow. Like, I don't know who he is. And this, I wasn't sure if that was Seth Allen or if he was talking about Aaron Worthing, whose real name was Aaron Walker. And this is really crazy because, I mean, it goes back to like Breitbart way back in the day. Like, I wasn't into politics. I don't know a lot of these people. I didn't know who Lee Stranahan was until I was like doing stuff for Julian Assange, right? It's like, I mean, I didn't even know this happened. And this is, I mean, if I go back and look at what happened with this whole Aaron Worthing, which is Aaron Walker, Ali Akbar, this guy named Robert Stacy McCain, someone else, and Brett Kimberlin. I didn't know who Brett Kimberlin was. And it's like reading up on all of this is like, wow, this is just like rabbit hole of rabbit holes that really happened. And it's all about the intrigue of cyber stalking. Now, what's great about this is like you've got people who figured out who someone who was convicted of a crime, who like some bomber, and they cyber stalked him. It's like I kind of like that because I mean, imagine you cyber stalk to the extent of like very corrupt people in power. Now that I admire, or like pedophiles and like all these people, like obviously they are like Dennis Hastert and people like that, right? It's like just cyber stalk them. It's like great, you're doing that to bad people, fine. But then it's like, oh, he's cyber stalking me. I barely have anybody watch my videos. It's like, why would he do that? But just because he's just mean. It's like Payback. Have you ever seen Payback with Mel Gibson? What's his name? He goes, that's just mean. Like when he shoots that briefcase. That's what it's like. Okay. So I'll go. So anyways, I kind of had to verify who this was. And, you know, the mouse over says Seth Allen, but I just needed to find a second source. And I found it on this one by Matt Osborne, Breitbart Unmasked. And I had to click on a link because right here it doesn't show anything, right? But if I click on it, it will, and that's what this is. So yeah, I was just trying to do something mean. Again, yeah, let's just read. I'm gonna kind of skip a lot of the stuff that's not about Seth Allen. I mean, but a lot of it he's just kind of in the middle of something that went on, and he was basically used in a political fight between like the right and left of well, I don't know what you call it, pundits maybe. All right, so Seth Allen, the Massachusetts blogger who threatened to murder Britt Kimberlin and got legal aid from Aaron Worthington. Of everyone who answered the rallying cries of Frey and Breitbart, one of the loudest was a character who wrote under the pseudonym Aaron Worthing, a contributor to Frey's blog, plus a publisher of his own sites like the anti-Muslim Hate Fest, Everyone Draw Muhammad. Worthing offered legal advice to Seth Allen, the Bay State blogger who had threatened to murder Brett Kimberlin. A lawyer in neighboring Virginia, Worthing also attempted to defend Allen in his contempt case against Kimberlin. Worthing didn't give his legal name, instead telling the court that he wished to represent Allen anonymously. That's when Kimberlin hit back with a motion to disclose the identity of Aaron Worthing. On January 9th, 2012, Worthing showed up at the Maryland contempt hearing for Allen. By then, Kimberlin had leveraged the Virginia attorney's butting, I don't know what that means, into the case to reveal Worthing's real identity, Aaron Walker, this incensed Walker. I mean, probably the worst thing he could do to an anonymous online troll is to expose who they are. That is going to be like the cream of the crop of what you can do to really hit a troll, anonymous troll. You know how to fight back. So now we know what Tokyo Shemp looks like. You know, he doesn't have to use this mask anymore. He's unmasked, revealed. And I didn't do it. This is already out there. I just had to find it. Now we also know what he sounds like, right?
This is pretty funny, too, to go with some of my other videos being about funny Schadenfreude.
I mean, he talks in a very interesting way, in where his mannerisms are always the same, where... I mean, I was trying to find a video of him talking, but he's very good at scrubbing himself from the net. So I couldn't find any videos of him talking, but I could hear his voice. And I think this is like his foray into being a troll, but now actually going into and making videos and not just writing up blogs. Because, no one seemed to be responding to any of his blogs. It's got a sting. So anyways, some of these sites are no longer available, and that's probably one of the bad things about digital print is that can get scrubbed if it's not cached somewhere or backed up. All these old sites are just gone. So it kind of sucks, but I was able to find a couple of things. Here's Breitbart Unmasked, Matt Osborne, September 30th, 2015, which is, about 5 years and 2 months. Yeah. So I would love to contact Matt Osborne, because he's like, I think this is the only thing I could. I could probably do a little bit more search right here. I don't think I did, but we'll see. Whatever happened to the ineffable weirdness of Seth Allen, by Matt Osborne. The article is the first in a series that examines the present-day circumstances of the assorted weirdos, hacks, shills, creeps, and nut jobs who coalesced around the attacks on Brett Kimberlin from 2011 through 2012. Now, I need to do, like, it would be a fun rabbit hole to investigate that. I mean, it has nothing to do with what I want to investigate, but it's like, what happened, right? It's like, it's so skewed because you've got people who just obviously lie, and use their First Amendment to lie, and do everything they can to get away with it. And you've got others who are trying to tell the truth, reveal the truth, but they also have a history of being, may have a history of being violent. So it's like, who do you believe? The violent criminal with the history, the person with the history of violent crime, who also lied in the past, who's trying to clear their present name, versus the other people who just really hate, who are stalkers, who are abusive online trolls and lie all the time. Or most of the time, I'm sure the vitriol that they have is really them telling the truth of what they think and how they feel. So, yeah, that would be something to look at. Sorry, I go on those tangents a lot. All right, so for a moment, it seemed that Seth Allen had finally fulfilled his most bizarre personal ambitions and stood on the cusp of greatness. After years of failed efforts to win the public applause that he felt he deserved, Allen had finally had the attention of powerful people in the world of online media, if their outlook was very different from his own. Allen still felt he could leverage the situation to win his longed-for fame. But then Allen's new friends stole this thunder regarding Brett Kimberlin and abandoned him just as reality came crashing down in a courtroom, leaving Allen to run his chemtrail conspiracy forum without a friend in the world. And that's this one. The all aircraft are not involved. You can donate to him, and he's got a lot of. He's got a forum where it seems like he's the only one talking in the forum. There's somebody actually that responded. It looks like there hasn't been any anything happening since July 26, 2012. I mean, he's got a pretty good amount of views, but not a lot of. Yeah, interesting. But yeah, I think it's funny because he always goes, person made up a site. This person made up a lot of sites, a lot of personas, a lot of weirdness. But anyways, yes, for a few minutes it seemed to Seth Allen that the world finally did revolve around him, just as he always thought it should. But where is he now? A long history of deranged internet behavior. A Massachusetts man who suffered from mental illness and severe narcissism, Allen had already been a troublemaker for many years. Unemployable since losing his teaching job in 2001, within years, the conspiracy-addled Allen was trolling chemtrail boards with more than the usual smug self-assurance of your average internet crank. He was adept at creating multiple profiles with which to engage message board communities, stir dramas, and pick fights, especially where chemtrails were concerned. And he aimed to win every argument with everyone, even himself. To paraphrase William Burroughs, Seth Allen is the paranoiac who knows what is really going on. You know, at this point, like when I read this, I didn't know who. I couldn't connect Seth Allen. But the only way I could do it was through Brett Kimberlin. And Brett Kimberlin and Aaron Worthing, Aaron Walker, and all that is mentioned a lot in his own blog, which you can find and do keyword searches on. And then I found this article and it's like, this severe narcissism. Yeah, that's a keyword that describes who this is. And then, you know, eventually I speed read down. But I want to read the whole thing. Chemtrails, of course, are a relatively recent urban legend. Anyways, never mind. That doesn't. I won't do that. Okay. Much of this activity took place at Ariana's Forum, an early user-driven social media platform, which was later folded into Huffington Post. So the original content is no longer visible, but we can still see old discussions about Allen's various personas, as well as his harassment and cyberstalking. For instance, here are chemtrail enthusiasts complaining about Jay Reynolds, who claimed to have associated with late conspiracy theorist Bill Cooper, in 2004. Here's someone complaining about Allen's multiple identities on a different forum in 2005, where he reveled in disgusting and alarming people. Among the pseudonyms appearing during this time is the handle Allen uses at his blog Socrates, and that one is sockshot.wordpress. I think I don't think I put that in the description box, but anyways, things got stranger when Allen's personas collided. There were some other chemtrail enthusiasts complaining about Lou Abanchant at a website called Chemtrail Central, where yet another Allen persona, FUI, won't do what you tell me, a phrase borrowed from a lyric by the band Rage Against the Machine, accuses Abanchant of being a government provocateur in 2007. When the folks at that site eventually figured out Allen's game, including the reprised role of Jay Reynolds, Allen's accounts were all banned. It was just one of many sites that I've reckoned with him over the years. I mean, this guy is just like, he's horrible at what he does, but it's entertaining because he's so bad at it. In 2008, Allen formed a whole new obsession with BradBlog.com, where he had a simmering disagreement with Brad Friedman, the eponymous site owner. Allen was convinced that Steve Hertzberg, a libertarian voting integrity activist with links to the Ron Paul campaign, was the evil mastermind behind the 2004 election irregularities in Ohio, and that Friedman was covering up the crime. Allen also queried Friedman about a job writing for the site, proposing to cover weather modification along with election integrity issues. When Friedman understandably balked at this notion, Allen began to leave increasingly hysterical, insane, obscene comments at Brad blog under a long list of screen names, earning multiple bans from the site. As soon as Allen dug into Friedman's life for damaging information, many of these comments began to mention Friedman's business partner Brett Kimberlin. Writing as Dave from Queens in his Blogspot diary, which is funny because his name ain't Dave, and I don't think he's ever been at Queens. Apparently, Allen sensed an opening with Kimberlin, for his screeds about the controversial former federal prisoner became ever more strident and bizarre. Seeking a liberal outlet which would take his conspiracy theory about fake progressives seriously, Allen even blogged about his obsession at Daily Kos as preposterosity, which is also his Twitter handle. The D-Coast community eventually banned Allen too for all the usual reasons. I mean, it kind of sucks being banned all the time. I know exactly what it feels. By the end of 2010, Kimberlin had filed suit against Allen in a Maryland court, while Allen's libelous gibberish had brought him the attention he waddled through, and though from an unexpected quarter. So I'm gonna keep going, but like, I see Seth Allen as the bizarro me, right? If there's a bizarro version of me, I think it's Seth Allen. And the reason I say this is like, I don't think I can get a job anymore just because of my internet history. But, you know, I'm very open about who I am and what I say. The right to say it and, you know, like no censorship type of stuff. He's on the other spectrum, uh, where he'll want to hide himself, his identity, say the worst things possible. Then that's probably why he can't get a job or something, or maybe he's just crazy. And like he's banned for saying all the wrong things, right? I get banned for saying the truth. So basically, he's banned for lying all the time. I'm banned for telling the truth all the time. It's just bizarro, right? All right, an unlikely hero to Andrew Breitbart's fandom. In July of 2010, Velvet Revolution lobbied the Maryland Attorney General to pursue wiretapping charges against conservative video prankster James O'Keefe. Weeks later, the website indictbreitbart.org went live to publicize the lobbying campaign, drawing Andrew Breitbart's attention to Kimberlin for the first time. Dustin Faranack, a friend of the principal characters surrounding Breitbart, brought Allen to their attention, and by that October, BigJournalism.com writer Mandy Nagy was cribbing Seth Allen's posts about Kimberlin for her own articles. In fact, her writing is similar enough that Allen later accused Nagy of plagiarism. Ah, yeah, that happens. Faranack also introduced Allen to John Patrick Frey, the Los Angeles Assistant District Attorney, better known by his nom-de blog Paruco, and a little-known Virginia attorney named Aaron Walker, who's guest blogging at Frey's website. It would prove to be a crucial turning point in both of their careers. While these attorneys encouraged Allen to defend himself in court, no one would help him financially, a very sore point for Allen, who lives on food stamps and a small trust fund left by his dead mother, who he doesn't own a car and has very little means to travel. In August 2011, after his new right-wing friends ignored his latest appeals to subsidize a trip to Maryland for his looming court date with Kimberlin, Allen sent Nagy a self-pitying email that contained a violent suggestion. Whatever, maybe I should murder Kimberlin. Maybe that will finally get me some justice. This life sucks anyway. All anyone cares about is themselves and their own money. Freedom of speech is dead in America. Thanks for nothing, Breitbart. Nagy forwarded the communication to police in Allen's hometown. Shortly thereafter, Kimberlin obtained a peace order against Allen. This was the moment when Walker, who blogged under the pseudonym Aaron Worthing, decided to take a more personal interest in the case, offering Allen legal advice as an anonymous attorney, even though the case was lost and the time to appeal it had expired. But as Alex Perrine explained in 2012, Walker's actions thereafter seemed deliberately aimed at replacing Allen as Kimberlin's primary courtroom antagonist. After the hearing, Walker and Kimberlin had a confrontation outside the court. They argued, and according to Walker, his account is in the massive post linked above. Kimberlin raised his iPad, and Walker snatched it away from him, then he gave it to a deputy. Kimberlin soon filed criminal charges against Walker, alleging assault, claiming to have been rather badly beaten up. He took my iPad away from me, hit me in the eye, sent me to the emergency room, Kimberlin told me. Criminal charges were filed and dropped by the state. Walker claims Kimberlin forged or falsified his hospital records. Although Mandy Nagy continued to defend his honor, Allen was virtually cast aside by the rest of the people who had spent the previous year building him up and egging him on. With one of their own now engaged in lawfare against Kimberlin, Frey and the others had no use for poor Allen, whose case was lost and finished and soon forgotten. Then Andrew Breitbart died at midnight on the 29th of February 2012, whereupon the entire Kimberlin scene was elevated to a kind of memorial crusade by his bereaved friends and fans, but without elevating Seth Allen in the process. Is Seth Allen still talking to himself? Although Google has removed most of the libelous material about Kimberlin from his Blogspot account, Allen still posts frequently at the Day from Queens blog. He doesn't care for Breitbart groupies, thinks very little of Frey and Walker, and acknowledges that he was used to promote someone else's agenda, yet Allen has never retracted his fabrications or apologized for his role in a right-wing contrivance. Despite his meager circumstances, Seth Allen's outsized ego will never allow him to have that kind of clarifying moment. Instead, he insists that Kimberlin and Friedman had been exposed as fake progressives. And we see that all the time on his videos. But he just accuses just like ordinary people. anyways, but I would say maybe extraordinary people who aren't in any limelight. All right, so but Allen still craves someone to acknowledge his greatness, and nowadays he has Donkey Tail, aka Pete Richards. Allen's putative friendship with Donkey Tail has been on and off again over the years, a series of occasional vitriolic quarrels interspersed with long, friendly exchanges of flattery and cordial discussion. Lately, their relationship is hot and heavy, and the two personas exchange dozens of friendly comments on every post at Allen's blog. In fact, Donkey Tail and Allen are the only two commenters on any of the recent posts at the Dave from Queen's blog, and this is from 2015. So is Donkey Tail a real person or a figment of Allen's demented imagination? It's difficult to tell. While Donkey Tail's left some electronic traces on a couple of progressive blogs going back a whole decade, his voice reads quite similar to Allen's, especially when they compare notes on the schizophrenic range of topics in the stream of consciousness word salad style. Many of it's very easy to figure out who Seth Allen is, just the way he writes, and obviously the way he talks. Many of Donkey Tail's MyFDL posts at setuproof.com carry the imprint of Allen's unique obsessions and grudges, and the ones from 2011 link heavily to sites chattering about Allen and his legal entanglements with Kimberlin. My sources who were at FDL back then have no recollection of the cat and do not know who is behind it. The more I look at Pete Richards, aka Donkey Tail, the more I'm convinced that it is another alternate persona developed over the many years to cure the loneliness of mental illness. His one shot at fame, now a distant memory, poor Seth Allen has fallen solo. He has nothing else to do all day long but talk to himself. Actually, that should be in 2020. He has nothing else to do all day but make videos about me, libelous videos about me, and stalking me. So that's what he's been doing since 2015. Like I really don't really want to read a lot of this libelous drivel or whatever, however it was said. Anyways, you could do searches for him, and it talks about like the whole thing about Brett Kimberlin and all of that from his point of view. There's Robert Stacy McCain, and these are the type of people who actually form cyber stalking gangs, trying to stay anonymous behind the scenes until, of course, they were revealed. And of course, they don't do any of that stuff, at least not openly. Anyways, from an undisclosed location, June 3rd, 2012, the Robert Stacy McCain. From an undisclosed location. While researching further background material, I happened upon November 2011 post at DFQ2 in which Seth Allen discusses Brett Kimberlin's ties to the left-wing news site Raw Story. Allen was particularly interested in Larissa Alexandrovna, a former Raw Story reporter who is an indefatigable defender, or perhaps we should say idolater of Kimberlin. Anyways, there's some other stuff. And then I think here's more about Seth Allen being Massachusetts resident. Seth Allen. I used to live in Boston. Not Boston, but once in Boston, but most of the time Somerville. But yeah, I wonder if we ever cross paths. That would be interesting to know. More stuff I had to actually look at through the Wayback Machine, just look at something that's cached. There's of course Preciosity is also suspended, but of course you can always look at do a search for where people are trying to talk at him, and you can see what they're saying, who they are. They don't have it just feels like it's my Twitter account. It's like nobody really responds or likes or anything, right? Kind of sad. More stuff. A lot of these aren't even cached anymore. I can't see it, but I'm pretty sure it's just a photo of the circuit court. Basically, I think you just copy paste most of it, but who knows if it's 100% true. I did the search for him. I found out his middle was Lois because I found out his age when I looked at Tokyo Shemp, because he says he's like a diagnosed Asperger's. He's just a narcissist, but new member 54 from autismforums.com. So I knew he was 54. So I looked at all these. This one I'm not going to show people because it actually has his home address. So I don't want to dox him, even though it's public information. But no, shit. That one was the one that was that doxing information. This one is blurred out from the site. But anyways, you can see Seth Allen, age 54. So Lewis is middle name. You could also, it's admitted that he's in Massachusetts, although not Boston. That he is a super troll. Shit. I didn't want to reveal the address. It's not like anybody cares. That's the sad part. All right. Wienergate, Puerto Rico's penalization, dailycoast.com, 2011, July 4th. By Stranded Wind. Let's see. He says some stuff. Okay. And then someone forwarded me the complaint regarding Frey running a cyber stalking campaign in conjunction with Southeastern Massachusetts resident Seth Allen. Well, maybe this whole situation is about to become much clearer. So, first, take a look at the background from 2010 when he was intimately involved in defending James O'Keefe's Acorn smear. This complaint about John Patrick Frey, aka Puerto Rico, to the California Supreme Court details the perceived conflict of interest between someone who is deputy district attorney and a vigorous defender of O'Keefe's criminal papers, also named the then anonymous cyber stalker who used the pseudonym Socrates. And we already know that. The author of the complaint, Brett Cumberland Velvet Revolution, later sued Socrates and pushed the process far enough to get Google to give up its identifying information, proving that the person, so it was Google in the courts that finally revealed who Seth Allen was, or Socrates at that time. Southeastern Massachusetts, these links no longer work. This link is to a PDF I created from Kid Kanoma's blog, which I did because this seemed important. If you Google Seth Allen Kid Kanoma, there's a lot of additional information on this guy. I did go to that, and I'll show you that later. Anyways, this has an idea that complex long-running fake news seen in both cases. I have another piece of information online that I'm debating posting, which reveals the various aliases he has used in the past and where they have been observed. Anyways, we're going to see that soon, but let's see. Given Seth Allen's history of stalking and fakery, it's highly probable he knows what a spoof card is, and a spoof app is another way in which one can present someone else's number in caller ID. Let's see. Anyways, so I kind of wanted to go in, like, there's deletion notice, so I can find that document, script D. So Kanoma WordPress.com. I just did a search for Seth. That's about it. You can probably look for more stuff. And so you can see a lot of these pages, posts. These are kind of old, back in 2011. Who's on first? Maybe I'll just go through each of them. Right. And one links to the ultimate troll, Socrates on trial. We'll wait till I read that one. But anyways, the very last one, who's on first? Basically, Socrates, all the pseudonyms this individual and probably others compiled. I mean, this is a whole new level. Like, first, who's crazy enough to create so many pseudonyms and online personas? Second, who's crazy enough to try to figure it all out and just compile a list? But it's hilariously crazy is what it is. So preposterosity with this poster, and there's link. I guess he's a Reddit user, one of his Reddit user profiles. May 4, 1970, Socratic Truths, Paul Ferrari, NWO is evil, S Truth 40, Anonymous Army, number 5, Shadow Thief Homer, Noom, Shanghai Charlie, Fox Humana, Anti-Wingnut, aka Distorter, Jeff Reynolds, Jay Reynolds, Stet, Big Jim, McBob, F won't do what you tell me. Prof. Meathead, Do Not Lie, Fork Tongue, The Crusted Potato, David Byron, Mustard Quark, Broccoli, Julia Skyphers, Guy Caballero, Happy Gilmore, Let the Sunshine, Troll, Troublemaker, No More Cosate, Kendrick Garrett, Purposticity, Reverse Troll, Use of Fascism. And there's more who, and then yeah, anyways, probably contributed. There's a lot. This one goes to this, which I'll read later. More Patarico, Socrates resume. Kid Kanoma's, well, I don't know who. Kid Kanoma is just probably another anonymous blogger. Pretty sure he's not gonna reveal himself. It takes a certain type of persona to kind of reveal yourself. Anyways, this is kind of more of a what's that term? Anyways, sarcasm in some way. Basically, he pretty much willfully accepted help from the establishment, I guess, that he purports to be against, and got shafted. Let's see. To be or not to be, August 9th, 2011. Oh, Seth Allen, by the way, you share the same birthday as my daughter. Just so you know. So, think of it that when I'm celebrating my daughter's birthday, I'm kind of celebrating yours in some way, very remotely and far removed. Okay. Let's see. This one is Puerto Rico. Let's see. All right. So I guess I'll go through the whole thing. Those who don't learn lessons of internet convolution are doomed to repeat them. Socrates. And I think they mean Socrates of Seth Allen. I don't know. After a while, one right-wing crypto-fascist teabagger blog seems pretty much like another. The usual bullshit. Big anxieties about commies, queers, Arabs, and those despicable traitors, liberals, and immigrants, not to mention that goddamn lesbian mafia. Also, of course, Israel can do no wrong. And the predictable nostalgia for the Reagan, Pinochet, Thatcher era. One difference I have noticed, though, is the reaction to the presence of mega troll Seth Allen, Socrates' Purposticity at two different teabagger blogs. At Puerto Rico, Sock is treated like a celebrity hero, with Patty and his winged monkeys rallying around Sock in his titanic battle against Brett Kimberlin. So Sock will be able to continue his tireless effort to transform the U.S. into a socialist workers' paradise. Well, just a few years back, Sock Posterity, also known as Professor Meathead, would be remembered a bit differently. Let's see. Straight ahead. Maybe I'll read that later. And while we cannot vouch for the veracity of poster comments that the Beak speaks, we note that the character assessment was stalked by the Beak himself, has remained posted online legally unchallenged since May of 2006, which gives it about as much credibility as anything else to be found on a teabag blog, I guess. And in the comment section of this post, Beaker has something interesting to say about Socrates' familiar relations to fellow threat to Beaker. Can comment 9th down. His sexual harassment of every female poster and posting under multiple aliases also warrants a lifetime ban. Not a lot of slack given for improprieties of pedophilic nature over at Beak's blog. Luckily for Sock, Preposterity has found a more tolerant environment to invest. YouTube. All right. So let's see. I think this is the comment. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, let's see. Okay, here. Sad state of affairs. Another troll in the house, Sunday, May 7, 2006. There's a persistent psychopathic troll who posts under the name of Socrates. He hails from the Fresno area and has a lifetime ban at Front Page Magazine. He fancies himself a writer, but his creations are paper thin. I urge all members of this community to check their set meters. Any new members of our community who post from Coalinga, Fresno, or San Mateo, California should draw caution. This is why I advise our new friends Florian and Donald to let people know they are friends of mine, and Nance. Sako was a huge critic of this blog, but he comes crawling here after FPM canned his ad nauseam multiple names. Sorry, Sako, but Roberto cannot protect you here. Birkin. Sako belongs outside or community, probably meant R, as a cyber vermin. One who reads a Mr. Beamish posts, one knows what one is getting. Posting under multiple aliases alone is cause for a lifetime ban. Florian, a true blogger, opens his home to deserving members of the community. No doubt others will seek you out and join our extended family. Let's see. I've read his statement and account of molesting his daughters on FPM on a Radosh post. Ooh, that's some hefty stuff. So, Beakerkin is accusing Seth Allen of child molesting his own daughters. Wow. It's clearly his style of writing. Moreover, Donald and Morgan also looked into the matter. You can view his confession in braggadocio on FPM in the commentary of the Rados article of around 2003. His sexual harassment of every female poster and posting under multiple aliases also warrants a lifetime ban. Damn. Anyways, back in 2006, it seems like he's either traveling around California or he's VPNing around the California area. All right, let's see. I want to go to that one. Let's hold on to that. Front page. What was the M? Front page magazine. Okay. Gonna remember that one. Gosh, this is exciting. This is fun. Oh man. Okay. Let's see. Okay, we already went through this one, so I can close that. Now this is the Beak Speaks, March 30th, 2005, which is probably the furthest date we can find anything on Seth Allen. So this is basically 15 years later, 15 and a half years later, and he's still trolling. That's admirable. That's sad, but admirable. I actually dealt with like the worst troll in probably history. I mean, at least we can say, I mean, not like, well, he could be maybe one of the most evil trolls. Tokyo Shemp, Seth Allen, whatever. And the worst trolls because he can't keep his identity secret. And he keeps failing. But yeah, I could say I went against the worst troll in the world. If that's true or not, who knows? But I could say it can be up for debate. Wednesday, March 30th, 2005. The ultimate troll, Socrates on trial. There's an evil person who posts on front page forum who uses 30 known handles. He is the worst known troll and human being I have encountered. I do not say this lightly, as I worked in a facility that hired people in halfway house residents. I supervised hardened criminals who are ordinarily reasonable people and often hardworking. What makes this troll unique is he fancies himself a writer. His usual title is Socrates, but he posts under 30 names with identical writing styles. He targets women in general, and several notably. Commenting on a woman's intimate body parts is not good form. He uses the crudest and most vile descriptions to describe Donald, who posts here. He also has a vendetta against Morgan, who reads this blog. What makes him annoying is that he posts to himself. Then he uses the same style and claims independent identities. If misogyny is not a great enough crime, he tells Jews, get in the oven. In a series of racist remarks at blacks, Latins, and Muslims. He has running skits with Chinese characters that use grammatically perfect Chinglish with no pronouns. The typing style is identical to his other personas. I'll tell you, worst ever. He will then have a persona scream bigotry at posters that do not post on race. He also steals identities and posts profanity under other people's identities. He also uses old handles and claims to be back, but the styles are identical to Sock's. Sock fancies himself a talented writer, but his posts are devoid of substance and creativity. Not much has changed. He mistakes spelling and sentence structure for intelligence and content. David Horowitz, Yeagley, and Richard Poe have visited this blog and not flayed me. Steven Schwartz's assistants sent me a correction, and I'll repeat it. Steven Schwartz does not bash Western culture as he is a brilliant man. Sock asked Horowitz for a job as a staff writer, and he was turned down. Ooh. Asked to be a staff writer. Was turned down. Horowitz knows talent and character when he sees it, and Sock fails on both accounts. Ouch. Richard Poe allayed my fears of being banned as I am a Rudy Republican. I don't even know what that term means. Poe explained that it's easy to tell the difference between an honest person and a knave. Sock is worse than a knave. He's a parasite and a predator. Sock is lucky I'm not Horowitz, because if I was, he might be looking at jail time. Sock confessed that he was rejected by Horowitz this Sunday at the Kaplan thread. The key with the criminals is to let them talk, and they dig their own graves. Not gaves. The problem is that egomaniacs are never as smart as they think. Sock has demonstrated the stealing identity routine and demonstrated on a Gladzoff thread. Sock has been trying to damage Horowitz financially. He has hurt FPM by turning the forum into the Temple of Sock. He has his alleged cult of admirers who post on nothing other than Sock or target his foes. I will now address the more serious charges against Sock. There is about a 1 in 50 chance he did not commit the heinous crime. I did read the confession in the archives of FPM. However, he is a sick and deranged person and may have said it for attention. The circumstantial evidence that he teaches in a prison, not a school. The security check to work with children is tougher than to work in a prison. Attention is like a drug to him, and he plays this sophomore game of his clones worshiping him. He has an alias Mustard Quark who has never posted on topic, only suck boosting and attacking his enemies. The other crime is serious. He's a bore of no imagination and creativity. He's the stupidest poster on the board, as one who has to repeat the same point dozens of times. The lack of creativity and intelligence is profound, especially considering he aspires to godhood. Now is the time to testify that FPM know our stories are here, and ordinary pests like Uptown or Ducky can stay. They post under one or name and are just comedic relief. I would not even complain about an ordinary troll. This is above and beyond toleration. It is time to prosecute Sock. I want to thank Richard Poe for opening my eyes. As simple what Fine Place has devolved into. Responsible dissent is fine, but self-promotion needless abuse, harassment, and being an uncreative bore is too much. We must aspire to greatness rather than sink to lowest common denominator. Let's fight back and look at this at the first step. It kind of reminds me of that Dark Knight quote where you go, who is it? Bruce Wayne's butler, Alfred. He says, some men just want to see the world burn. I think that may perfectly describe Seth Allen. So the Donald, man, 27 comments. I mean, more people are commenting about this, about Seth Allen, than any of Seth Allen's posts. The Donald said, yes, this man who posted FPM variously as Socrates and about 20 other names contacted me in 2003, and 4 of us at FPM began to write each other from our email accounts. Soon Socrates was asking me for sex and suggested I meet him for sex when he was with his 2 daughters. So I soon stopped writing to him. Online at FPM, he began a campaign of harassment of me that included the vilest words, referencing my various female body parts, and in multiple posts. He soon fell out with the 2 other members of our group and included them in his campaign of harassment, though they were men. He impugned their names, posted their personal infos online, accused them of homosexual acts, crimes, etc. He has continued all of this to this day. When he and I had been corresponding amicably, he told me of his plans to bring down David Horowitz and his desire to ruin his FPM site. He started this with a series of bored clogging multi-post, stealing our names, and posting in our stead. He makes up a whole team of aliases, Team Sock, that he then uses to write back and forth to himself in various posts and various names. We have attempted a boycott of him in his post, but he simply steals our name or makes up several more of his own, and his abusive, disruptive, misogynistic posts continue as always. The one solution that would truly help this situation, a name lock, as every other site has been denied to us. The only recourse we have left is defending ourselves as best we can, often devoid of nonsense ourselves. I don't know of any other way to avoid being his victim except to stand up and tell what an absolute immoral person he is as often as I need to. This hasn't made the FPM board any better, and I recognize that. After over a year of being called a smelly C, probably, anyways, on a daily basis, a fat pig, a diabetic cripple in a wheelchair, none of those things remotely true. I am beyond having a rational response, come down to pure defense, and I'm totally dug in. Any help from top has been totally absent. Socrates is a man who wishes to destroy, simply to destroy. Over the last 2 years, he has shown he is incapable of getting along with any poster and has repeatedly posted anti-female, anti-black, anti-Mexican, anti-Jewish sentiments, and only in the worst terms. The day he told 3 of our most respected posters who happened to be Jewish to crawl into the ovens and Jewish people are scourged upon the earth was basically the last straw. It was so nasty, so pathetically bigoted and calculated to hurt that I can no longer hear when I say to him anything is fair game. I don't understand why this one man has been allowed to single-handedly clog up a message board. I can't imagine what would be the motivation in allowing this, and the unwarranted attacks on me and others personally are the biggest reasons I have not yet thrown any monetary support to FPM. I won't pay to be called a C every day or remain alone in dealing with abuse. No other website would allow it. I don't know why FPM does. Yeah, obviously something. Whoa, what's interesting? Yes, it's all about attention power. This guy was up that I wouldn't sleep with him or even meet him. Duh. I subsequently found out he's 54 years old and weighs 350 pounds. To go, let's see, when was that written? 2005? I mean, if he was 54 15 years ago, that means he's like 69 now. I don't know what's sadder. Interesting. I mean, this is entertainment. Like, I don't watch TV anymore. On occasion, I'll watch certain shows on Netflix, Amazon Prime, whatever, with my wife. But yeah, otherwise I just kind of think, work on stuff, research, but not this stuff. But now, oh man. There's Mr. Quark again. Man. It's just more just like definitely record. Just it's just oh my goodness. What else is there? I mean, just one I did like a kicking on with Seth Allen, but that was no longer available, so I did a Wayback Machine. It didn't seem that interesting. Not as much as these. And wow. It is man. Okay, let's see. I think there's 3 more on them. I mean, I don't know. It's like I don't know whether to be sad for this guy or sympathetic. Is that the right word? But the actions really don't have any sympathy. I mean, I don't. It'd be like imagine Hitler, I guess, right? Or someone evil that you could talk about. Goring. Just think about them. You know, they got nothing to do but like spew hate online. You know, that's just kind of what it kind of ends up being. And you're like, that's kind of sad. I mean, even though they're doing like horrible stuff, it's still kind of sad for them. It's like pity. Pity is the right word. Yeah, you pity them. And I'm sure that's like the worst thing that That's probably what they hate the worst, is being pitied. But yeah, it's just sad, sympathetic, pity, but also not, because they're so much, they're worse than the worst type of people. So it's like, huh, I don't know how I should feel. All right, let's see. Let me look and see if there's anything interesting. No. I mean, this is all before all the Breitbart stuff, I think. We now economist Seth Allen. I think this is where I was looking at. Yeah, I couldn't get into it. Excuse me. Let's see. Yeah. Anyways, I think that's most of what I found so far. But yeah, there's a good amount of links in the description box. Have fun reading about this person. Make more videos about like the worst troll in the world. Literally. You could title a video like that. Whatever it is just, it is epic. This is an epic failure of an individual, and it's sad, but it's also hilarious at the same time. It is just hard to know what to feel. It's just difficult. Oh man. I want to look at this FPM front page magazine. But it doesn't show Radosh article. Front page mag. Archives. It'll be tough. Who is David Horowitz? It sounds so familiar. Who is David Horowitz? I don't know if he looks familiar or not. Don't. Now I kind of know why he chose Dave from Queens. Oh, he's referencing David Horowitz. Duh. Seth Allen, his blog, Dave from Queens 2, is taking himself after David Horowitz. David Horowitz must be someone who Seth Allen really looked up to or something. Interesting. Huh. Things you would never kind of piece together till you just kind of go looking. And some of it's just right there. Anyways, I'll probably look up more about him. Like, I don't really care. 2003 FPM. No. Archives. No search. Can I do a question mark? I don't know what Radosh. I don't know if this will work. I don't know. Nah. Nope. I don't think I can be able to find it. That was like horrible. Let's see. 2000. No, this is. I never heard about Radosh. Hold on, I just want to know what this is. And no, that's not it. No, I probably won't care. Let's see, front page bank. This is 2017. Yeah, I don't think I can find the archives that go back to 2013, unfortunately. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for joining me or not joining me. I'm pretty sure you're gonna watch this, or someone is. I wonder what that picture is from. It's like he really looks like he's someone from Boston. Definitely, that's what like Boston people look like. Majority of them. He would blend in well, obviously. But yeah, all right, there you go. That's Tokyo Shemp, aka a million different crazy, narcissistic asshole personas, pedophile maybe. At least we only know that because of his self-confession in a Radosh article in 2003 at Front Page Magazine from someone in some other forum, blog, etc. But yeah, the most banned troll in the world, I would say. Like, there was a contest of the worst troll in the world. He would be one of them. Like, I would love to look into like other worst trolls in the world. But the thing is, to be the worst troll in the world, it's like you want to stay anonymous because, I mean, you don't want your private life ruined by all the stuff that you spew, and right. So you can't be the worst if you still maintain your identity. You could be like the worst troll, like the worst abusive cyber stalking troll in that regard, but like worst as being you're trying to be good at trolling, but you're just so horrible. Instead, everyone is trolling you because your trolling is so bad, and you get a rage all the time and you hate the world. That is basically Seth Allen. Anyways, thank you for joining me tonight, and have a nice day.